Hey y'all, and welcome to the next installment of THKD TV. Today I'm going to be talking about what proved to be a huge weekend in the world of professional wrestling. This past weekend, we not only had NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, we also had the 2018 Royal Rumble and New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Beginning in Sapporo event. So, three huge events from the two biggest wrestling companies on the planet. First, I want to talk about NXT TakeOver. I'm not going to talk about every single match for all these events because otherwise this video would be hours long, but I do want to hit upon the highlights. And certainly the first highlight to be mentioned is Velveteen Dream versus Cassius Ohno. You know, I wasn't as excited about this match as I was about Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream at NXT War Games, but Velveteen Dream still managed to deliver, even though we didn't have quite, the same kind of awesome build-up that Velveteen versus Black got. Cassius Ohno is a great wrestler. He always puts on good matches. Velveteen, he looked like a superstar out there. He looked like a guy that's worthy of a push. It did look to me like he botched a couple moves out there, but he's ridiculously young. I think he's only 22 or 23 years old. And the fact that he's right now as good as he is in the ring, and also how well developed his persona is at this point, speaks volumes about him. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of him. I could see him being a future NXT champion, and certainly worthy of a push whenever he gets called up to the main roster. He, in my opinion, right now, there's a lot of guys in NXT that are to be looked out for, but I think he might be getting close to the top of the list at this point. He's probably right behind Aleister Black as far as up-and-comers in NXT are concerned. So that's definitely a match you'll want to check out. Next was Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. I was very happy to see that Ember Moon was victorious in this match, that they booked this appropriately. I was concerned that Shayna Baszler was just going to annihilate Ember Moon, and I did not want to see the match get booked that way. Granted, Shayna did dominate the match, but Ember pulled off the victory in the end, and that's what I was hoping to see. I don't see what the big deal about Shayna Baszler is, quite frankly. She's not very exciting to watch in the ring. Her personality is the same tired personality that they give every single MMA or UFC fighter that comes to pro wrestling. She's the arrogant bully. Same, it's just, to me, it's just a female version of Brock Lesnar, and quite frankly, Brock Lesnar bores the hell out of me, so I don't understand the Shayna Baszler hype. But obviously, she's in line for a huge push. She basically has done nothing, yet somehow gained a title shot right off the bat. So it is what it is at this point. I'm sure she'll be holding the title at some point. Although if Ember's going to be feuding with anybody, I think it should be Kairi Sane at this point. I think Kairi has done way more in NXT and showed way more skill in the Mae Young Classic than Shayna Baszler did, and I don't understand why Shayna was booked for the final either. Just my opinion. I know a lot of people seem to be hyped for her. A lot of UFC fans and MMA fans seem to be behind her, but personally right now I just don't see it. Next up would be Aleister Black versus Adam Cole in the Extreme Rules match. This was a fantastic Extreme Rules match. These guys are two of the best performers. Simple as that. They delivered. They deliver every time out. Adam Cole is going to be a huge deal in WWE. I can't see it being any other way. He's a smaller guy, sure, but, I think he kind of falls in line. He could be the next Shawn Michaels. Not that their personalities are similar, but, I think same, size-wise and athleticism-wise, being a smaller guy that's just super athletic, very good in the ring, has a well-developed character, I definitely think he'll be a big deal. And the company seems to be pretty high on Aleister Black as well, and there's a reason for that. The guy delivers time in and time out. My only gripe with Aleister Black is that he just needs more character development. I understand they're trying to keep him mysterious, but he needs to talk more. He needs to cut some promos. He needs more character development. His feud with Velveteen Dream went a long way towards that, but it needs more. You can only keep somebody so mysterious. I mean, The Undertaker, he still has his mystique, and he cuts promos, whenever he shows up. So need a little bit more character development. I think Adam Cole is already there. I definitely foresee him with a NXT title run as well, provided that they don't jump the gun on calling him up to the main roster. Certainly, I think he could go up to the main roster right now and succeed, but I'd like to see him hang around in NXT for a little while and be champion for a little while down there. Of course, the main event, Andrade Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano. This match, wow, this is an early contender for match of the year right here. I wasn't sure how this one was going to go, but it proved to be an excellent match from a psychology and storytelling perspective, and these guys both proved they are the two of the best wrestlers, if not the two best wrestlers right now on the NXT roster. Almas, when he first came out, I know I've said this before, but just to kind of reiterate, I was not super impressed with him when he first showed up. I didn't understand the hype, but ever since he turned heel, he has impressed the hell out of me. Some guys just are natural heels, and Almas is one of those guys. He never should have been booked as a babyface. He should have been a heel from the get-go. I don't know. That was just some of that weird WWE booking kind of seeping down into NXT, unfortunately. But he has done nothing but impress me since he turned heel, and he is a worthy champion, and I think he proved that that night in that match with Gargano. Holy shit, that was a great match. Just the level of athleticism was off the charts, and as I mentioned earlier, the storytelling was fantastic. And I liked that they didn't pull the trigger on Tommaso Ciampa coming back until after the match was over. A lot of speculation was going on that Ciampa would interfere in the match and cause Gargano to lose. However, as we know now, Zelina Vega, Almas's manager, actually caused the distraction, or part of the distraction that in turn caused Gargano to lose. And I think that was a great heel tactic on display there. I think managers are underutilized right now, and especially heel managers, they need to be interfering in the match. That, as far as I'm concerned, is a heel manager's job, to distract the babyface, to interfere in the match, to hurt the babyface when the referee is not looking if they can. So I was glad to see that she did a great job with that, and I think putting her with Almas only raises his stock, because you've got a great heel in Almas, and then you give him that little extra push by having a great heel manager, and I think that's working very well for them as a pair. So again, great main event, surpassed my expectations, and the pay-per-view as a whole surpassed my expectations. I really wasn't expecting to like it quite as much as I did War Games, but it was very good. I would say still didn't like it quite as much as I did War Games. That pay-per-view was just off the hook, but nonetheless, TakeOver never fails to impress. They're always putting on great matches, time in, time out, and TakeOver Philadelphia was no exception. Moving on to the Royal Rumble, of course, what was interesting this year was, for the first time ever, you had both a men's Royal Rumble match and a women's Royal Rumble match, and I'm so happy to see finally that the female talent, are being treated with respect. You know, the era of pillow fights and bra and panties matches are over with. These women are so talented, and in the past, as talented as women like Trish Stratus and Lita were, those a lot of time their talents were wasted because they were participating in these ridiculous matches. But now that's over and done with. The women are getting equal billing to the men, or very close to getting equal billing to the men, and that's how it should be. It should not be men's wrestling and women's wrestling. It should just be professional wrestling. Simple as that. So to have a women's Royal Rumble match and a men's, I think, is a really fantastic step for WWE, and I hope that continues from now on. I hope that's the way it always is from now on. And the fact that the women's Rumble main evented the pay-per-view, I thought was a fantastic step forward for them as well. Now, as far as the men's Rumble was concerned, I was happy to see that for once the right person won. Shinsuke Nakamura won the men's Royal Rumble, and I was just shocked by that. Somebody on Twitter said the fact that WWE has this as everybody thinking that Roman Reigns is always going to win everything is a powerful tool. And I'm sorry I don't remember who said that on Twitter, so I can't credit them, but they're absolutely right. The match came down to Nakamura and Roman Reigns, and everybody assumed that Roman Reigns was going to win. I mean, I think anybody, even before the match, that was the speculation, and then to have actually see it come down to Nakamura and Reigns, it was a no-brainer. Reigns was going to win. But shockingly, Nakamura won the match and challenged AJ Styles for his title at WrestleMania. So we're going to get an awesome match at WrestleMania. That's a given. As long as they both stay healthy between now and WrestleMania, we are going to get an awesome match at WrestleMania. If you've never seen Shinsuke Nakamura wrestle AJ Styles, you need to get on YouTube or on New Japan World and look up the matches they had in New Japan Pro Wrestling, because they are going to blow the roof off WrestleMania. They are going to have the best match of the night. It is guaranteed. It is a no-brainer. As long as they both stay healthy, that's going to be the match to watch at WrestleMania. And we actually get that match for once. WWE gives the fans what they want. It's a shocker. I mean, we're still probably going to have to slog our way through Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, but at least we get AJ Styles versus Nakamura at WrestleMania, and that is that blows my mind that we're actually going to get that match at a US pay-per-view. I think that's fantastic, beyond fantastic. Anyway, not a ton of surprises in the Men's Royal Rumble, but I was happy to see the Hurricane show up. Always been one of my favorite mid-card guys. Sad that he was only in the match for about 5 seconds, but still cool to see him. As far as surprise participants, that was the highlight for me. Like I said, the right guy won. It was a well-paced match. It was certainly a hell of a lot better than the 2017 Rumble, which was pretty atrocious, and Randy Orton winning was totally anticlimactic. So happy to see that they made up for the previous year and did a really well-paced, well-booked Royal Rumble this time out. It was really good, and matches like that are the reason the Royal Rumble has been my favorite pay-per-view since I was a kid. Always and forever the Royal Rumble, and so thank you WWE for restoring my faith in my favorite pay-per-view. As far as the Women's Rumble goes, this was also a really well done match. This match had a lot more female wrestlers from the past coming out to participate. You had Trish Stratus, Lita, Michelle McCool, Kelly, a variety of female talent from the past come out, and it was very cool to see them mix it up with the female talent of today. You even got to see Ember Moon come out. She was selling her arm injury from the previous night, but she had a great showing, and I was so happy to see her out there. I'm happy to see her with the title. I think she's easily the most deserving female talent on the NXT roster, so she deserves everything she's getting, and it's really cool that they let her participate in the Royal Rumble. I'm so happy to see her out there. And all the female talent right now in WWE, as far as I'm concerned, the main roster is pretty top shelf. I mean, there's not too many. There's a few, but there's not too many weak links in the female roster right now. And of course, we have to talk about once again with the Women's Royal Rumble. Again, the right person won. Asuka, undefeated Empress of Tomorrow, won the whole thing. I thought that was a great choice. They booked her so strongly in NXT, and now coming into WWE, the main roster, they're continuing that, and having her win the Royal Rumble, the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, goes a long ways towards cementing her spot as one of the top female talents on the roster. I think that was a fantastic choice. I'm not sure having it come down to her and the Bella Twins was that great of a choice. I would have much rather seen it come down to Asuka and Sasha Banks or Asuka and Bayley. It would have been a little better, I think, to put over two current active talents rather than Asuka versus the Bella Twins there at the end. But, it is what it is. I guess, in a way, beating the Bella Twins, since they were so dominant during their time, is a pretty good move. I mean, it's kind of a passing of the torch kind of thing. So in a way, it is a good move, but I still rather would have seen it come down to, again, Asuka versus Sasha or Asuka versus Bayley. But unfortunately, Bayley's kind of gotten lost in the shuffle, which is really disappointing to me. But again, it is what it is, and Asuka winning was the right choice. Again, giving people what they wanted, I think. The downside was, unfortunately, while Asuka was celebrating in the ring, Ronda Rousey had to show up. I thought this was a poor decision. It completely spoiled and took away from Asuka's moment. The first ever Women's Royal Rumble should have been the ending, and the winners should have been treated with respect and with, with the reverence that type of thing deserves. That's a big deal for professional wrestling. And to have Ronda Rousey come out and point at a sign for 10 minutes or however how long she was out there, it seemed like forever, being awkward as hell, totally took away from that. Why? I don't understand why they did that. They could have debuted her at any time. That was the worst decision they could have made. That's, again, a perfect example of WWE's heinous booking. I mean, sure, everybody was talking about it the next day, but it was awkward. It took away from Asuka, and it was pointless. To me, it says, oh, well, we don't think Asuka's big enough a star, so we have to get Ronda Rousey out here and have her point at a damn sign and not say anything and not get physical with anybody. It was, in my opinion, pointless and just poor booking on WWE's part. But, what do I know? I'm not the booker for that company. So, anyway, maybe can you tell I just am not a fan of MMA people coming into professional wrestling? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Anyway. Excuse me. Now I want to talk about, this might be the biggest, for me personally, biggest angle or biggest event in pro wrestling right now is what took place at New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Beginning in Sapporo. I guess before I get to that, I want to talk about the Intercontinental title match, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Minoru Suzuki. This was a fantastic match. It was such, as far as from a storytelling perspective, you had Minoru Suzuki just torturing Tanahashi, and it really showed Tanahashi's fighting spirit, which of course is what he is known for, is gutting it out through injuries, never giving up. The match was called due to referee stoppage, and that just kind of speaks to the fact that Tanahashi didn't want to give up, but the referee made a decision to go ahead and end the match in favor of Suzuki. And Suzuki, quite frankly, he scares the hell out of me. His character is so fantastic. He scares the living bejesus out of me. I would not want to meet him in a dark alley. He's probably the nicest guy in the world. I've seen pictures of him with fans, and I'm sure he's just the nicest guy. But man, as far as from a wrestling character perspective, he scares the hell out of me. He appears to take such glee in torturing people and being sadistic, and then when people are smacking him around and he starts laughing at them, that shit's intimidating. He's 100,000 times more intimidating than Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. He's one of my favorite guys on the roster. And some would argue, oh, but Josh, he's an MMA guy. Well, he doesn't have the typical MMA persona that WWE likes to slap on their MMA people. And also, it should be noted that he did train in professional wrestling prior to starting Pancrase. So he is actually a wrestling guy first and then an MMA guy. But anyway, that's besides the point. Whatever the case, Suzuki's a fantastic wrestler. Tanahashi's a badass, and he really gutted it out through this match as far as from a psychology and storytelling perspective is concerned. Made both guys look strong as all hell. Put the IC title on Suzuki, which I think is really interesting, and I'm looking forward to see who challenges him for that title, because all of his matches are super fun to watch. Not just because he's, like I said, as I've said earlier, intimidating as all hell, but also because of his cheating and his, taking things outside the ring. And of course the interference by Suzuki-gun is always fun to watch. He's just a great heel, and Suzuki-gun as a stable, I think, is an awesome stable. There are a few weak links in that stable, but nonetheless, I still think they're one of the more compelling stables in professional wrestling right now as far as their willingness to just flagrantly break the rules and interfere on behalf of their boss or whomever they may be backing up at that time. It's just good stuff all around. Lastly, I like I said, I'm not going to talk about every match here. I just want to hit the main points. Have to talk about Kenny Omega versus Jay White. Now, last time I made a wrestling video, I was critical of Jay White. I didn't buy the Switchblade persona, and I didn't feel like he did either. But this match with Kenny Omega, he showed me something. He's improved from a psychology standpoint and buying into his character standpoint. He has improved drastically since Wrestle Kingdom. I still am not 100% sold on him, but I'm definitely more sold on him than I was with that match with Tanahashi back at Wrestle Kingdom 12. He really showed me something. I thought he did a good job of hanging in there with Omega. You know, I still think Omega is the more talented wrestler, but White did a great job of gutting it out in there with him, and of course he ended up winning the match. So you know, he walks away with the IWGP US title, which was incredibly shocking. You know, I thought that title was, you know, custom made for Omega. I thought he'd be carrying it for the foreseeable future. I didn't see him giving it up until he won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, to be quite frank. I thought he would hold on to that until he was able to challenge again for the heavyweight title, and then he would probably vacate the US title, or perhaps he would lose it right before challenging for the heavyweight title. But the one thing I like about New Japan, well, one of many things I like about New Japan, is they are not predictable with their booking. Unlike some other companies I could name, they are not predictable whatsoever with their booking. I was totally thrown off by Jay White winning that match. I was sure that Omega was going to school him, but that was not the case at all. Even more important than the match itself, though, were the events that transpired after the match. Bullet Club came out, Cody, Hangman Page, the Young Bucks. Marty came out a little bit later, but Hangman Page came in the ring, grabbed the title from White, and, you know, as if to challenge him for the title, Omega snatched it away from White and handed it back to Jay White. Did I say that right? Omega snatched the title away from Hangman Page and gave it back to White, just in case I didn't say that right the first time around. But anyway, you know, kind of, you know, it's always kind of tradition for the next guy to come out and challenge in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Omega kind of interfering in that created some friction. You had Cody come in and kind of intervene on behalf of Hangman Page. You had the Young Bucks come in. Kenny was upset. He pushed down Matt Jackson from the Young Bucks. They left the ring. He was left in there. Kenny and Cody were in there. Of course, there's been friction for those two building up for quite a while now, at least since, oh gosh, it was one of the matches with Kenny Omega versus Okada of that trilogy where Cody came out and wanted to throw in the towel for Omega, and that's what started the friction, I believe. I don't think there was anything major before that, but it's kind of been building ever since then. So it's been building for quite some time. They've done a great job with that storyline of subtly kind of building it up, making it come to a head. Anyway, Cody grabbed Kenny Omega, put him in the hit him with the crossroads, and you know, that was that. So he was going to hit him with a chair for a follow-up, but then Kota Ibushi came out and saved him, much like Kenny Omega came out and saved Ibushi from Cody Rhodes back at New Year Dash. And as such, what is Kenny's status as far as the Bullet Club's concerned? What's going on between him and Ibushi? Him and Ibushi were tag team partners for a very long time before the whole Bullet Club thing came about. They were tag team partners in DDT Pro Wrestling in Japan, and then tag team partners in New Japan as well. So the way more questions than there are answers at this point as far as the status of Bullet Club, as far as the status of Kenny Omega, and that's what's great about New Japan's booking, is it keeps you guessing. We don't know. But I will say, if you haven't watched Being the Elite, which is the Young Bucks YouTube show, you need to watch it because it did further the storyline there. Obviously, you know you're going to get spoilers if you watch one of my videos. But at the very end of the latest episode of Being in the Elite, you see Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi walking into the Young Bucks hotel room, and they close the door, and that's how it ends. So kind of makes you wonder, is Ibushi going to join the Elite, and the Elite are going to splinter off from Bullet Club? Will they all unite in some form of Bullet Club? What's going to happen there? Is it going to be the Elite feuding with Bullet Club? Is it going to be Kota and Kenny feuding with the Young Bucks? Like I said, more questions than there are answers at this point, and I think that's the beauty of New Japan's booking. I think they're doing a hell of a job from a storytelling and a booking standpoint. And New Beginning in Sapporo did not expect anything that shocking to happen at this event, but certainly they blew away, I think, everybody's expectations. I think everybody saw the friction between Kenny and Cody coming to a head at some point, but I don't think anybody foresaw it happening in that particular manner, and I don't think they foresaw Kenny and Ibushi reuniting in the manner that they did. I think that was a really cool moment when they embraced in the ring. I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm interested to learn more about what that relationship is going to look like. Are they going to be tag team partners and challenge for the IWGP tag team titles? Are they going to remain singles wrestlers but still kind of be allies? Is Ibushi joining the Elite? I don't know. I want to know. I look forward to finding out. I can't wait to find out more, and that's what's great about New Japan's booking right now, and that was what was great about New Beginning in Sapporo. So this video has already gone on way longer than I wanted it to, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. I hope you enjoyed watching, and let me know what you thought of these events in the comments.